So hamsters are not domesticated very long, which means that they have not been around humans enough to absolutely love them. A lot of hamster owners face this problem where their hamster doesn't like interacting with their owner. That's of course very discouraging. In today's video, I'm answering the question, should you tame your hamster? And I'm also showing you the best way you should tame your hamster. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you love hamsters just like me, you're in the right place. On this channel, I am primarily creating hamster care content. From hamster care tips to hamster vlogs, everything on this channel. Are you interested? Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And without any further ado, let's get started. Before even starting to tame your hamster, you should allow them 2 to 3 days to settle in. In this video, I mentioned hamsters are stress prone and stress leads to a weakened immune system. So if you wait until your hamster is settled in, it makes it way less stressful for them. I know it's so difficult to leave your hamster alone 2 to 3 days since you're so excited. Believe me, I couldn't wait either. But believe me, it will be worth the waiting since you will have such a better bond with your hamster. After waiting 2 to 3 days or even more, you can start with step 1, which is giving them treats. Your hamster should approach you with caution. They have never seen you before and won't trust you yet. Don't do anything such as picking up and stuff in this first step. If your hamster doesn't take the treat after sniffing you a few seconds, you can place the treat in front of them and wait for them to take it. Make sure they do not get closed in and they always have an escape route. If they are closed in, they will probably bite you and feel very threatened. Because you're gonna give your hamster treats every day for this taming process, you need to use healthy treats such as pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, mealworms. These are all healthy treats. Although these are a bit fattier, so maybe use some healthier treats such as maybe vegetables or fruits. Please don't use the treats with a lot of sugar such as honey sticks or yogurt drops. These are all unhealthy. But anyways, let's move on with the topic. I want to say this again, please don't pick your hamster up or pet them in this first step. There's no specific timestamp on how long you should do this since every hamster takes different times. Another thing I have to mention is that you should make this taming a routine so your hamster knows when to expect a treat. If your hamster seems a bit nibbly, I recommend you wearing gloves or washing your hands with scentless or floral soap, but nothing that smells sweet. There are hamsters that are still very nibbly after so much taming, but you should never give up. If your hamster takes the treat without any hesitation, you can start with the next step, which is hand feeding. Start putting the treat on your hand and work your way up to your wrist or even higher if you want to. In my opinion, you should stick to the step for at least 2 weeks. At the start, your hamster will likely only take the treats within stretching distance, but this will improve the more you do this. Just taking the treat is not enough to move on with the next step. Your hamster should be standing with all paws on your hand to eat the treat. But if your hamster sits with 4 paws on your hands without any hesitation, you can move on with the next step. Step 3 is learning how to pick up your hamster and possibly even learning to pet them. You want to start this step by putting a treat on your hand, and when your hamster is eating it, lifting your hand a few inches above the ground without your hamster of course falling off it. The reason you should keep your hamster very low is that they suddenly can jump and then cause injuries. As your hamster trusts you more, you can slowly go a bit more above the ground, but I don't recommend going over 1 feet even with tamed hamsters because they can always fall or somehow roll over. Look out for constant face grooming, peeing or pooping since these are signs of nervousness. If your hamster were to display these signs, I recommend you going back to step 2 and sticking to that for another week and even more if you feel the need to. And if you want to pet your hamster, this is now a good time to learn. Something I have to warn you about is that if your hamster is eating, best don't pet them because they sometimes will flinch. If your hamster likes to nibble, I recommend you using gloves or brushes or something to pet them, but eventually you have to move on without them. Some hamsters don't like petting, such as my hamster. He tries to run away when I try to pet him. If you feel your hamster is okay with being picked up and or being pet, it's now time to move on with step 4, which is bathtub bonding. So I assume that your hamster is okay with being picked up and or pet. But now we're gonna move on with learning how to pick your hamster up and bond with your hamster. This can simply be done by sitting in a bathtub or a closed shower with a blanket and some toys or without toys. There's not a lot of stuff to say about this step because it's of course your hamster and not mine, so you have to learn how to bond with your hamster. Like for any pet, you need to check their health, and this is what we're gonna do in step 5. In this step, we're gonna look how to flip a hamster over to check their belly and stuff. This is not necessarily something you have to do since you can use a clear container to check the bottoms of your hamster. If you are a new time hamster owner, I recommend you using that because that's way easier, and if you have a skittish hamster, that's very annoying to do. I'm not really comfortable sharing how to flip your hamster over since I'm not very good at it, and I'm also of course not a vet, so I recommend you checking hamster forums and stuff to check how to flip a hamster over. But if you really want to know how, it's safer to contact a local exotic animal vet. To keep a good bond with your hamster, there are some things you should never do. Click on this video where I talk about things you should never do with your hamster, and also click somewhere on the screen to subscribe. Also check this video if you really like my channel because I'm sure you will like it. Thank you guys for watching, and I see you guys next time.